What's up? I'm Nick from the band ROMES with my brother Jake. Today, gonna show you some alternative uses for this Alesis Strata Prime drum kit. Some cool things that we've been experimenting with, how to double it as a MIDI controller to make it do some pretty funky stuff. So that clip that you just saw, that was using this drum kit to control Moog Sub 37 analog synthesizer and control all the parameters on it in real time. Gonna go through a rundown of how that was all set up. First, we're gonna show another cool way we've been using this drum kit, which is to trigger a drum synth. Essentially, every pad has a different MIDI node assigned to it, sending that MIDI information to the drum synth to trigger a different voice on the drum synth. Then we map different parameters on the drum synth to the Akai APC40, which allows us to modulate the parameters of the drum synth in real time with the playing. So we can get some kind of organic modulation, evolve the sounds over time, and we're going to go through some of those parameters which we mapped and go into a bit more detail. We map the kick drum oscillator frequency and the amount of distortion on the kick, which sounds like this. We map the decay of the snare drum on the synth. We put a low pass filter on both the drum synth and the Strata Prime so that we could bring things down and build things up. And then we assigned some macros in Ableton to the drum synth as a whole for things like EQ and feedback and some weird glitchy stuff. And all together sounds like this. Let's see what else we can control with this drum kit using it as a MIDI controller. So what we did was we created a sequence, ran the sequence on the Sub 37, and then using MIDI CC and envelopes, assigned each of the different pads on this drum kit to control a different parameter on the synth. Again, it just kind of provides a way to make the sequence not so static, and it's reacting in real time to the drum playing. So kick drum is mapped to the filter cutoff. This second tom is mapped to the octave of the sequencer. This first floor tom is mapped to the multi-drive on the synth and also a a weird kind of glitchy delay plugin. And then this second tom is mapped to the resonance on the synth. And this first tom we have mapped to the mix of a kind of beat repeat VST. The thing that's really cool about using an E-kit to do all this is that the hi-hats and the cymbals can be used as triggers as well. So we assign this crash cymbal to the release on the synth, which is really sweet because naturally if you're going to a heavier section of the song and you want the synth to open up and the release to get longer. So now with this setup that happens naturally and instantaneously, which is pretty sweet. And then all of that together sounds like this. So the other cool thing is because these drums are obviously velocity sensitive, we can use the velocity information to control how much the envelope opens and therefore how much of that parameter is actually being affected, which again just lends itself to more dynamic, real-time, back and forth interaction between everything. So our new album that we're working on is going to sound a lot different than anything else that we've done in the past because of this new kind of more experimental gear integration process that we're utilizing for both songwriting, production ideas, sound design. We'll just get a setup going. We'll just jam for half hour or so, and then we'll go back and listen to everything. And there might be just like one or two little snippets of something that sounds cool, but it's those little ideas that came out of the jam with this particular setup. We're like, oh yeah, that's cool. Let's go and build off of that and then flesh that out into a full track. And it's just this really fun process for us of creating music and coming up with ideas that, you know, we might not have come up with inside the box or otherwise. Yeah, that's it. Peace.